In this video, I'm going to talk about super simple ways that you can use in order to get more Turo bookings. And these will work whether you're renting out new cars or old cars, regardless of price range or market. So let's get started. But before we dive into that, I do want to remind you guys that my course, the Car Sharing Masterclass, is releasing a 3.0 iteration on August 1st. So if you've been interested in checking out the Car Sharing Masterclass and you want to do it at a great price, now is the time because we will be increasing the price of the course on August 1st upon the 3.0 release. You can use the code OFFER100 to get $100 off. Now, the Car Sharing Masterclass is the best car sharing course on the internet. In fact, we are so confident that this is the case that we offer a no questions asked 30-day money-back guarantee. If you take the course, apply what you learn, and you don't like the result, you can email me and my team and we will give you a refund, no questions asked. That is how confident we are about the content of the course. The course is over 10 hours long and goes over literally everything that you need to know, from how to buy cars and how to determine whether or not a car is worth buying, how to handle maintenance, repairs, day-to-day operations, direct rentals, co-hosting. We've documents, resources, contractual templates. We've consulted attorneys, accountants, and other car sharing hosts to make sure that you are getting the most up-to-date, best information available. Again, you can use the code OFFER100 to get $100 off, and the 3.0 iteration comes out on August 1st. Now, the first thing that every Turo host should be doing is you need to be active in the Turo app. This means spending time in there, clicking around, opening it to respond to messages, adjust pricing, even just opening it, perusing around for a bit, and then closing it will make a difference. This has been confirmed to me by a Turo insider that app activity does impact your ranking within the Turo algorithm, and it actually does make sense, and I found very similar things to be true with other app platforms as well. For those of you who may not know, Turo isn't the only app that I use for business. I have a camper van on Arvezi, Outdoorsy, and RV Share, and I also have a property on Airbnb, Furbo, and Booking.com. And I've noticed that with every single one of these apps and listing sites, with the exception of maybe Booking.com, if you are in the app regularly, your bookings will fall. And almost always when I go and make a slight adjustment or go into the app to change a setting, I see a booking shortly thereafter. Now, I'm a Turo all the time simply because of the fact it's such a big part of my day, but I do try to carve out 10 to 15 minutes per day to click around these other app platforms to try to boost the algorithm a bit. And I'm not saying 10 to 15 minutes per app, I'm just saying 10 to 15 minutes total. So if you only are a part of Turo, you can maybe do it for 1 or 2 minutes. Secondly is to adjust your pricing by 10% if you notice a lull in bookings. Now, 10% is the theorized threshold of what will trigger an algorithm boost. Remember that great photos, a great listing, and a cool car, all of these things are good and will help you get more bookings, but none of this really matters if nobody sees you. And if you want to be successful at Turo, you need to learn how to work the Turo algorithm. And price is an excellent way to do this. I would say 9 times out of 10, whenever I drop my prices by 10%, I get an immediate booking, and by immediate, I mean within the next couple of hours. Now, if you don't feel comfortable dropping your prices by 10% right out of the gate, then you could drop it by a couple of percentage points, see if somebody books your car, then maybe drop it a little bit more until you see that booking come through. Next is to offer delivery. Now, I'm not suggesting that you need to live and die by delivery, and I'm not even saying that you need to offer delivery on all of your vehicles. However, if you do have a car that fits like a delivery niche, like an XL SUV, a standard SUV, or a minivan, I would strongly encourage you to at the very least experiment with delivery. I talked about this on my channel before, but back in 2023, I got a Lincoln Navigator. It was the first 3-row SUV in my fleet, and when we first got it, we had the same settings on our Navigator as we did on every other vehicle, and the Lincoln was just not doing as well as I had hoped. And so we decided that we wanted to start experimenting with delivery, and initially I believe we did like a 4-day minimum and a 12-hour advance notice, so pretty strict delivery settings. And immediately we saw an uptick in bookings, not only for delivery, but also for this vehicle for our home location as well. Today we offer delivery much more frequently, and we offer it on a few different cars, including our Honda Odysseys, Navigator, and our MKC. But in our experience, by offering delivery, we were able to see a boost in bookings for that particular vehicle across the board. And while we do offer a lot of delivery for these vehicles, we also do a lot of at-home location reservations as well, which is good. The next tip is to keep cars booked. Objects in motion stay in motion until they don't. I will die on the hill that cars that are booked out will get their next booking easier than those that aren't. And so that means that whenever you notice that your cars just aren't getting booked, get them out ASAP. Lower prices, adjust your settings, do whatever you need to do in order to get that car out and on a reservation. Traction is very, very real, and so is the snowball effect. The more bookings you get, the more that you'll continue to get. And if you allow for your cars to sit, well, they'll continue to sit. Next is to actively manage your prices every single day. I actually talk about this in my course, the Car Sharing Masterclass, but Turo dynamic pricing, I think in a lot of ways can be a really good tool to help you price more competitively, specifically long in advance. However, the same tool is absolutely terrible at adjusting prices on a day-by-day basis. What I mean by this is that Turo Dynamics pricing may say that a car needs to be priced at, say, $50 per day. But let's say on a random Monday, 7 of your cars get returned at the exact exact same time, and now you have 7 cars sitting. Dynamic pricing is not going to adjust for that short-term demand, and so it's still going to suggest that your car is at $50 per day, but realistically, it should probably be about 10 to 20% cheaper given the fact that you have a lot of cars sitting. You have a lot of supply, and thus the price needs to go down as a result. This is where you come in. You need to look at pricing daily with your fleet and look at what your booking situation looks like and your availability. Look at where your prices lie and adjust accordingly. I say it all the time, but price management is like an active job. You need to be doing this every day, if not multiple times per day, depending on how many cars you have. And it really doesn't take that much time to do, but if you don't do this, I almost guarantee that you're going to start seeing a lull in bookings. You need to be actively managing this part of your business. Otherwise, you will find that your prices either tend to go too high or too low at certain points throughout the week. Next is to focus on what matters, which is the Turo algorithm. I talk to a lot of Turo hosts who drop off business cards, run Facebook ads, sort of heed their own marketing efforts in order to get more Turo bookings. And I think that this is fine and well to do, especially if you're someone who's wanting to eventually go direct. However, if you are a Turo host and you're not getting any Turo bookings, I'm a firm believer that passing out cars and doing your own marketing is not going to solve your problem. Instead, you need to feed your algorithm. Price, availability, listings, so things like photos, description, etc. These are things that are going to matter most. And while grassroots marketing isn't something that I would necessarily discourage people from doing, I think it's worth exploring. At the end of the day, Turo is going to be your #1 promoter. They want to see your car get booked because they want to see their portion of your earnings. And so they're going to boost you in the algorithm in order to see more earnings from you. And so feeding into these fundamental aspects of your Turo listing will not only allow for you to be boosted into the Turo algorithm and thus give you more business, but even the algorithm aside, no amount of marketing is going to offset the effects of having bad photos, a bad listing, bad pricing for your Turo vehicle. So doing these foundational things are ultimately going to be what's most important when it comes to getting the most amount of Turo bookings, and doing any additional marketing on top of that is sort of gravy, but it's not going to help if these foundational things aren't put into place first. And last but not least is to stay consistent. And by be consistent, I mean a couple of different things. #1 is to be consistent with being a Turo host. If you really want to give Turo a try, you can't just give it a try for a month or even a couple of months and decide whether or not it's going to work for you. Because at the end of the day, seeing success with Turo, but truthfully any business, takes time, and you have to be consistent with it in order to see real results. But I also mean stay consistent on the day-to-day aspects of your business and your bookings. If you have a Turo car that you list on Turo, but it's constantly blocked off because you need the car, you are never going to get bookings. You need for your car to consistently get booked out. And in addition to that, do everything that I talked about in this video consistently. And I will go as far as to say that I guarantee you that you will see more bookings. Now, you guys may recognize a trend throughout this video, and it is the fact that all of these tips and tricks really lean into feeding the algorithm. And this is so incredibly important. If you're starting an online-based business that's on a platform, you need to learn how to work the algorithm. And that's true with things like Airbnb, Turo, YouTube, and social media. The algorithm is going to rule all, and that's ultimately going to dictate your success. And so I encourage you to sit down and learn about what different things the algorithm takes into account, because while nobody knows exactly how the Turo algorithm works, we do have some ideas, and knowing how to navigate that is ultimately going to be your best bet moving forward. And the best part is none of this really takes a lot of time once you learn how to do it. Remember that my course, the Car Sharing Masterclass 3.0, comes out on August 1st. If you're interested in checking it out and getting $100 off, you can do so by using the code OFFER100. The link is down in the description below. Like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it. So make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.